You've never been fake. You've never been the smile and nod type. You're the one who always says what everyone else is thinking. You're honest with everyone, except the person in the mirror. You'll name the hard thing in the meeting. You'll hold space for everyone else's breakdown like a champ. But when it comes to your own truth, you hit mute. Not because you're flaky, but because you are human. Let's talk about what happens when the most grounded woman in the room forgets to charge her own emotional battery. You have earned your reputation for being real. You show up, you listen deeply, you lead with the truth, even when it's hard. You are the type of woman I admire. But here's what no one is telling you. You can be radically honest with everyone else and still not tell yourself the truth. You get so good at holding space for others that you forget that you deserve space too. And I know, because I've been there. We override our own bandwidth, all in the name of being dependable. We are the human version of an emergency contact form. Everyone always calls us when things go sideways. We stop checking in with ourselves because needing feels like a luxury that we can't afford. High-functioning self-neglect is so socially acceptable. It's practically praised. It sounds like, of course I can take that on. I've got it. No worries. And it's not about being fake. It's a reflex, and it runs deep. You don't ask yourself, what do I need? Because the answer might come at the cost of someone else's comfort. Your emotional inbox has something like 472 unread messages, all marked read later. And no, it's not your fault. That pattern is generational, cultural, conditioned. But here's what happens without self-honesty. You stop trusting your gut. You confuse performance with presence. You look composed, but you feel hollow. You're not falling apart. You're just tired. The kind of tired where you open the fridge and find your phone chilling next to the oat milk. Being honest with yourself brings you back to center. It helps you make choices that match who you are instead of what others expect of you. You can't live or lead from a place of authenticity if you are abandoning yourself behind the scenes. You have been hitting snooze on your own truth, and now the alarm is getting louder. We think honesty is about truth-telling. It's also about truth hearing, especially when that own voice is yours. So ask yourself, am I actually okay? Or just really good at acting okay? Am I tired? Or am I just over it? Is I'm fine just the fastest way to end the conversation? Because let's be honest, I'm fine is typically code for please don't follow up because I don't have the emotional capacity for this conversation right now. Being real isn't a role you play. It's a relationship with yourself. And like any relationship, it needs care and attention, not just performance. So what does honesty with yourself look like in action? It looks like catching yourself saying, I'm fine, when you're actually overwhelmed, and then choosing not to just push through like nothing's wrong. It's pausing long enough to admit, I don't want to do this, even if you can. It's recognizing that you are running on fumes and deciding not to book another back-to-back day anyway. Self-honesty is about choosing truth over habit. It's not dramatic, but maybe the first evidence of this in your life will look like canceling plans without faking a headache. And that is emotional freedom in a single text. So how does it play out in our relationships? When you are honest with yourself, you stop overcommitting and undercommunicating. You don't say yes when you mean maybe, or agree to things that you will resent later. You speak up before you are stretched so thin that you are like an emotional fruit roll-up, which sure sounds sweet, but mostly just sticky and a little tragic. It makes your relationships clearer and cleaner because people know where they stand with you. It protects your energy and your relationships. And you get to stop trying to be everything for everyone else, which means there is more of the real you in the room. There was a season of my life where I felt grounded. I was thoughtful, compassionate, steady. People came to me for insight, and I had it. But I was also exhausted. I was holding it together with optimism and office snacks. I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't asking for help. And what made it that much harder was the fact that I didn't feel like I was being fake. I felt like I was functional, which is like corporate speak for slowly unraveling in tasteful shoes. That was a problem. I was being real with everyone except me. I told the truth to the world, but not to myself. Because usually the truth asks something of us. To pause, to leave, to say no. And that can feel risky. We are taught to avoid discomfort, to keep the peace, to be easy to love. So we minimize. We say, it's not that bad. Not because we're in denial, but because we're in survival. But the turning point for me came when I admitted, this isn't working. And I'm allowed to say that. Because self-honesty isn't a luxury. It's the price of self-trust. And don't get me wrong, self-honesty is hard. Let's face it, if being fine were a competitive sport, you'd have gold medals and brand deals. Self-honesty is hard because truth doesn't always come with a step-by-step plan. It just sits there, staring at you, asking you to feel things that you'd rather not, because it might mean disappointing someone, saying no, or changing course. And sometimes you have gone so long ignoring it, you're not even sure how to recognize it anymore. It's like emotional Where's Waldo, but the stakes are your sanity. Honesty with yourself requires a level of self-trust and stillness that's hard to come by when you are always in go mode. Self-honesty is that moment when something becomes undeniably true. And once you know it, you can't unknow it. Because of course we don't lie to ourselves out of malice. We do it because change creates uncertainty. And certainty feels safer, even when it costs us our joy. Self-honesty matters because without it, you end up building a life that makes sense to everyone else except you. Self-honesty is about emotional alignment with yourself, which requires you to stop outsourcing your worth. No more confusing performance with presence. Self-honesty brings you back to your center. It's how you remember who you are, how you begin to recognize the person you see in the mirror and sleep better at night. So we've talked about what it is and why it's important. But how do you get better at self-honesty? I recommend you start by telling yourself the truth about small things and build up to the bigger, more life-changing things. Because you don't have to overhaul your whole life overnight. Just pause and notice. What have I known for a while, but haven't said out loud yet? Where am I saying yes? Because it's easier than explaining. Where in my life am I performing instead of participating? Say one true thing to yourself, even if you're not ready to act on it yet. That is how self-honesty grows. The more often you name what's real for you, the easier it gets to live from that place. Not perfectly, just honestly. So this week I want you to try this. Before you attempt to fix something or someone, ask yourself, is this mine? Is this mine to fix? Before you give someone else clarity, ask yourself, what truth have I been avoiding? And before you say, I've got it, ask yourself, do I have capacity for that right now? Again, You don't need a life overhaul. You just need to stop ghosting the person who needs your honesty the most. You're tired because you have been real for everyone else except you. That changes now. Say what's real. Take off the cape. Lead like you always have. Fiercely, clearly, wholeheartedly. But this time, start with you.